Hello, my name is Obi Asika. It's a real pleasure to be here today to join you at the Eastern Nigeria Film Festival, the inaugural one, which was to hold in Enugu this year. But of course, because of the global pandemic, this is now a virtual event. So to the founders, Ikechukwu and Chris, congratulations. I think it's a worthy venture, and it's a real pleasure to be here with you. And to everybody who's participating or watching, I hope you find my thoughts of value. I'm going to talk about the future of entertainment as it relates to Nigeria, and specifically the east of Nigeria, and what I think the opportunities are, and how people can take advantage. Of course, this is a film festival, and therefore I should kick off from the film sector, or Nollywood as we call it locally. Nollywood has obviously grown enormously over the past 30 years since it was first came to light, driven by Nigerians who grew frustrated at their inability to get the opportunity to tell their own stories in their own way, and therefore innovated and created Nollywood. And it is important that people should understand and remember that Nollywood is a pure innovation creation. It was disruptive. It was original. It was people who didn't have the formal training were not given a chance, were not given an opportunity, but somehow they stuck it out. They took the risk. They dared to dream, and here we are, 25, 30 years later. The brand is known worldwide. They have produced hundreds of stars, thousands of movies. They have created global connections between the diaspora and Nigeria. And they have pushed and sold our culture, our good habits and our bad habits. And frankly, one cannot even imagine a Nigeria without a Nollywood. And that to me is the greatest respect and credit one can give to all the Nollywood pioneers and originators and all of those who dare to dream, because those who sit here in 2020 may not really understand the situation and the environment in 1992 when Nollywood really began to come to life. And here we are 28 years later, and some of those original movies like Living in Bondage and Rattlesnake are now coming back to the big screen. And I picked those two movies because they were both, in the early steps, almost sort of Igbo stories. They came out of the East. I even had friends who were in Rattlesnake, the first one. And it just seems to me that things are going full circle. The opportunity for Nollywood remains enormous. And as you can see with the advent of Netflix, Amazon, HBO, Discovery, the demand and the need and the global market for original Nigerian content and stories is only going to get bigger. It's never going to get smaller. So for all those who are creators, authors, filmmakers, storytellers, I think you should know that the future is yours. The access is more democratic now. Social media and all these devices and mobile platforms enable you to share your talent, tell your stories, and it doesn't just have to wait for the cinema. It can be on mobile devices, it could be on YouTube, it could be short form, it could be for television. And I think that is part of what technology has brought to the table, the ability for filmmakers and creators to be able to share their dreams, tell their stories using these technologies and these new tools and new media platforms. And that in itself is an enormous opportunity. And as we're sitting at the film festival, we must look at where are the production centers for Nollywood in the east of Nigeria. Primarily right now, I think Asaba is a huge production center for Nollywood. A lot of the content there is going to YouTube. We are seeing that the Delta State government is investing in a form of creative hub where they will be able to host a lot of productions. And we hope to begin to see local TV stations come out of Asaba to create more distribution opportunities for the content being generated. So it doesn't need to go straight to YouTube. it can also go to domestic television, which can also monetize. Onitsha, of course, Upper Iweka Road has been a major distribution point for all types of goods and products for the last 40 years in Nigeria and West Africa, and definitely for Nollywood in the early days and the Nigerian music industry. With the advent of piracy and the reduction of physical goods sales, perhaps not as important as it used to be, but it is important to recognize and understand that people are still buying VCDs and DVDs in 2020. The problem, though, is that content owners and content producers are not receiving income from those physical sales. And that is an issue that has to be resolved, because if you continuously sell content without the content owner receiving any income, then there is no advantage, there's no inspiration, there's no return on investment. Therefore, there's nothing to make the content producer make content anymore. And this is something that we must understand in order to build an ecosystem that works for everybody. Piracy kills not just the content producer, it kills the actor, the actress, because there will be no more work, the post-production people, the editor. So it is very, very important to get a handle on piracy. At this point in time, it seems like as if we have lost the battle on physical goods. But I believe that if the talent side of the industry and the retail distribution side, which is in the markets, can come together and build trust together, we can actually reclaim the streets, because there's no doubt in my mind that the markets control the streets. What we need to do is to find a way to balance the needs for both sides of the conversation. At the same time as we talk about that, we also have to think about domestic television, audience measurement, things that will happen and have to happen to enable investors and advertisers to grow domestic television markets. I've been involved in this, and I can tell you that our domestic television market in Nigeria is about $300 million in 2019. South Africa is about $1.4 billion. We are considerably smaller. We should be much bigger than we are. We should be much bigger than Ghana and Kenya, and we are not. But as we begin to look as a country to sort out audience measurement, the opportunity for exponential growth is enormous, to a situation where by 2025 we may be looking at a $1.5 billion domestic TV market, with 75% of that money being spent on local production and local content. And if you look at what's happening in Nigeria today, that would mean that maybe 20 to 30% of that spend would be in the East, which is, you're talking at about $200 million a year of production. Now, that production could come into Asaba, obviously, Enugu, Owerri, Oka, Onitsha, Newi, Uguta, Umuleri, Aguleri. I mean, the East has countless locations, countless destinations, and of course, a million stories to tell. So the question becomes, what proportion of these sectors can we build in the East? What proportion of the gross national product of these sectors is coming out of the East? And how can we affect these industries? I think the CCI, the cultural and creative industries over the last 25 years have been the key drivers with the innovation industries and technology industries of growth in Europe and North America, China, Asia. And it is here in Africa where perhaps we are born with the natural creativity. But for some reason, our governments and our mindset have been looking at these things as vocation, not as occupation. And we need to understand the financial capacity and value of these sectors. We need to understand that we are in the knowledge economy times, the attention economy, where information and capital are determining how economies fare. It's not as much as it used to be about land and industrialization as it will be about content, distribution, and how we sell that content. One of the most important things to think about is about how to develop mature ecosystems in the region to enable government, academia, the markets and civil society to come together, work together to develop strategic roadmaps that can enable and unlock the value and the potential of these sectors in the East. What am I talking about when I talk about the CCI, the cultural and creative industries? To give you an overview really quickly, we started with film. You can go to television, go to online audiovisual content on streaming platforms, SVODs or TVODs like Netflix, Amazon, HBO, Iroko, Ibaka, and Vivo, local brands. Over the next 3 to 5 years, I believe we will begin to see very strong local platforms. Those local platforms are going to be focusing on local content. And that is going to be the biggest market because we are Nigerian and we want to see and hear our own stories. The premium platforms may pre-select the premium producers, but that does not mean in a market this size that there is not a lot more to come. In this country, today we may have something like 200 screens. By 2025, I'd expect us to have 1,000 screens in terms of cinema. By 2025, we may expect to have 50 to 70 million people on social media instead of 30 million today, maybe. And as that happens and more people come into these platforms, then the economic impact will begin to be felt more and more as people begin to subscribe for content, pay for content, stream content, and actually the content begins to monetize. But of course, you have to understand the content is just a gateway. You've got merchandise, you've got goods, you've got apparel, all these other things that are built around built brands in terms of talent. So whether it's movies, football, music, comedy, cultural, traditional festivals, we can create branded products, goods and merchandise that can help to monetize and deepen the economic value of all of these things across over 20 different sectors: fashion, beauty, makeup, health, arts, culture, tourism, hospitality, recreation, nightlife, clubs, entertainment. I mean, if you just think about these things I've just mentioned, some of these sectors today in 2020 are already worth over $1 billion per annum in this country. That's at close to 450 billion naira. The question is, how much of that activity can we see in the East, and how much can grow, and how much can we build? As we build modern cities with proper security and infrastructure and logistics, then what we need to do is to marry what I call the disconnected markets, so that the creators and the authors who are creating the original concepts, ideas, TV programs, movies, albums, those people are original creators. Those people need distribution and retail. And we have distribution and retail in the markets, in Aba, in Onitsha, in Nnewi. We have that expertise. What we need is to create a bridge between these two communities, between the creators and the manufacturers, distributors. If we can create that bridge and make it work for us and prove the pipe, because what we need to do is to establish proof of concept, prove the pipe. Let me make 1 million Davido t-shirts from Aba with Davido and Aba people and let everybody make money. Once you have proved the pipe once, I guarantee you every talent in West Africa will come to Aba to do exactly that same thing. So what that means is that if you're in Aba or in Nnewi or in Onitsha, get your standards, protect rights. Integrity is what will make you money. If we can have a situation where content owners and brand owners can trust distributors to license and sell their products and give them a fair return on what they are selling, then you have a market. So as people who are commercial people, we need to understand and build marketplaces to deepen the impact and revenue and business for the creative industries. There are key steps that I believe must be made. Government can look at key interventions in terms of policy, in terms of creating creative industry councils in each state, in terms of putting down a creative hub in each state, which could a creative hub could host a couple of sound stages for television and film, post facilities for TV and film as well, audio recording studio for music and radio, and training rooms. And suddenly you would find that in almost every place you put a creative hub, you can see foot traffic of hundreds of people every single day coming to work, shared facilities where you can do training, you can upskill the people, train extensively across digital skills, across video editing, photography, set design, makeup. We can run master classes, we can train our people, we can give our people skills. And when you give them skills, we also have the facility where they can execute the skills and produce the content. You're creating a virtuous cycle where they can actually monetize what they are creating. This is absolutely critical, and it is something that I think it lies within the purview of government. If you put down the creative hubs, you also create a framework right then and there with the Creative Industry Council at the state level for the nexus between the academia, civil society, the markets, and business and government. And when you do these things, then you will see that private capital and equity and debt is available. The question then becomes at each state whether states want to get involved in discretionary grants, creating capital that can be used for young entrepreneurs, but most importantly, to stop the double taxation, to enable young people to work, to earn, and to live. Going forward, the East has an opportunity to retell its story, to own its narrative, and most importantly, to monetize it. Because we have incredible stories, we have incredible culture, both historical and modern. We have wonderful locations that are rarely seen by anybody. And we seem to have forgotten or not imbibed. Maybe we need to revert to our original selves in terms of our ability to tell the story. Because we are now in a world where the best stories win the world. So America, China, Brazil, India, all of them are looking to tell the best story. What is Nigeria looking to do? What are you looking to do? How are you looking to do it? We need to see a strategic roadmap between people in governance and people in the private sector, the captains of industry who can help to unlock the capital, but most importantly, to understand that this is a business. This sector is the sector that is driving the world. This sector is a sector that can drive the region. The region has the opportunity to be the engine room for the productive goods for the creative output of Nigeria. Nigeria has already in the last 10 years, and it's been the privilege of my life to be involved in that. Nigeria has already produced hundreds of creative outputs and outcomes, but we still lack goods and services. We lack brands and products. We lack merchandise. We are still not monetizing. One of the reasons why you see the Nigerian musicians constantly on the road worldwide is because of the lack of ability to tour in Nigeria. So in the East, for example, we would like to see live venues for 3,000 to 5,000 in each state capital, modern venues. We know that we have a lot of universities that have venues. We can upgrade them a little bit and we can bring them into a touring circuit. We can create a cultural calendar for the East, which can run through all the states. Everybody knows that the East gets absolutely full at Christmas and people come to party and enjoy. We need to brand that, we need to elevate it, and we need to communicate it. A special shout out to the Golibe Festival in Onitsha, which is a community-driven effort and really does not yet have the funding that it requires. And the Ofala Festival as well in Onitsha. And there are many others of this nature which can come up to a world-class level, come up to a world-class standard, and change the narrative and change the story coming out of the region. The most important value we have is our humanity, coupled with our ability to interpret what is happening around us. And that is really where the poets, the artists, the writers, the filmmakers and the musicians come to the table. And as they do their work, which is the creative side, they need the business support, which is the distribution, the retail, the marketing, and the financing. Everybody says that we are the business leaders of Africa, or the most commercially, we have the best reputation for business. So let's do the business right. Let's enable and engage. Let's build the bridge between our markets and the creative industries of Nigeria. Do not forget that the major thing everybody consumes is entertainment. We all consume it every single day. We consume content, be news, sports, entertainment. So let's embrace it. Let's embrace our creativity and innovation. Let's back the creators and the authors. Let's back the academics, and let's bring them together with the business and the enterprise people to build a new future. For me, collaboration, globalization. Let's do not look inwards. Look inwards only to express it outwards. Nigeria is a huge country. The region is big as it is today. The economy of any one of the states of the Southeast is possibly bigger than Rwanda. So we need to stop reducing our opportunities, stop being negative about our opportunity, and instead embrace the possibility of innovation and of creativity. Every day we see it happen. Every day now you will see and you will hear of somebody you think is an overnight success, but they've been working for 10 years and they came out of nowhere, from Enugu to Lagos, from Jos to Lagos. Lagos tends to be the key point. How can we build up the region so that Enugu or Onitsha or Nnewi or Aba or Owerri or Umuahia or Guta, any of these places can also have access to global markets, national markets, and relevance, even where they are and where they're based, without needing to move to Lagos or any other place. That has to be one of the strategic ideas that people are thinking about, because we have and we are blessed with a youthful, creative, innovative generation. 70% of our population is under 35. They own the future. And I think it's important that everybody gets on board with them and works with them. Bring your experience to the table to help to guide them, but allow them to express that creativity. Allow them to express that innovation. Allow them to disrupt the way in which it has been done. Let us change the way we look at education. Let us change the way we look at our opportunities. These are the things we need to do to bring the future of entertainment home to the east of Nigeria. And with that, I'm going to leave you. It's been a great pleasure to share this time with you, and I look forward to having an interactive conversation sometime in the future. God bless.